Right, here's another episode. I'm playing 20XX. And for this, this is me just being me. I don't have anything in particular to mention for this. I should just expect so the reason that I bring this up is because I'm not always going to have big topics to talk about. Sometimes it's just going to be me playing games. And, you know, I think there's really nothing wrong about that. My main channel, I talk quite heavily about, I mostly do games, but I thought this would be a good time to just sort of cover some of the stuff that... Just sort of let me cover up some of the... just sort of cover some of the stuff that I covered in the past. I mentioned before about a little bit about bullying and how I don't really think there's any place for it in just in anything about my previous episode, but also this is fine. But also the fact that I wanted to cover a little bit more about some of the previous things that I've done as well. So, for example, in the first episode, I talked a little bit about swearing and how I think that there is a... Sorry about that. How I think there's a place for swearing, but I think that a lot of the times people misuse it, and that results in, well, I don't like those spikes. How, you know, there's a place for things like so there's a bottom point to it. All right. So how there's a point for swearing, but what I wanted to bring up was the fact that well, I think there's a point for swearing. I don't think it really needs to be necessary. Alright. So, you know, just that, so I was going to mention that, a little bit about where swearing comes from, actually. It's sort of it's an English thing, originally. Not specifically English, but what I mean by that is that it was originally a particular type of dialect, and this dialect ended up with it was seen as sort of lowbrow, and from that, I have no idea what the months are for, but it was seen as sort of lowbrow and not really something that people would use. And the end result of that decision is actually that this type of language that wasn't used very often ended up being sort of the kind of words that that we think of as swear words. They're very short. They're very short words, and these short words, which you know of probably rather well, just due to the fact that they are widely thought of as swear words. So I mean, they were widely thought of as kind of not the most interesting of words that people could use. And so, you know, you get monosyllabic or very short syllables as your as things that would be considered, you know, kind of not very intelligent words. And those are the words that we know of as swear words. And they weren't really swear words at the time. When they were first created, there weren't so much swear words as they were a shorter way of saying something. And this shorter way of saying something was deemed a swear word when they tried to push away from that language or that dialect and switch to a more standard dialect. So you end up getting these words that, depending on what dialect ended up in history being the dominant dialect, determined what kind of words we now associate as swear words. I mean, for me, I actually do enjoy using swear words. It helps with some of my other recordings, which is one of the problems that I'm having with these recordings. That there's always, if something goes wrong, my first instinct is to use a swear word. Just when I'm working, or if I'm recording for this channel, I do have to stop myself because it's not appropriate for everyone who I work with. And I mean, I'm capable of filtering myself. A lot of the kids who I work with might have trouble with it. They might see it as just, you know, another word. It's not an appropriate word, but it's just another word. And the fact of the matter is, you're correct. It is just another word. But due to history, the connotations behind it are, it is a lowbrow version of another word. And we would prefer it if you used the higher word as opposed to the lower. I have no idea where I'm going to when I'm gonna actually get into more descriptive things in Minecraft, because I do know that some people have been interested in that. Obviously won't be happening this week. I don't know if I'll be releasing an episode every Monday and every Wednesday, every Monday, every Wednesday, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every Friday. I'll just sort of play it by ear. I'm actually recording a little bit in advance. Normally I was planning on having one episode for one set of 2 or 3 questions or 2 or 3 suggestions. But I'll, this is helping me find and play more of my Steam games. Some of my Steam games are not appropriate for some of the people who will be watching these videos, so there will be quite a few games that I won't be playing. But yeah,